September letter or U.S. waiver? Which one do you actually need? Ken Scott, Senior U.S. Immigration Law Intelligence Analyst with www.usentry-waiverservices.com. You guys hope you can get a September letter, but on one hand, I can say dream on, but on the other hand, I can say anything's possible. Let's get right into it. A September letter is a letter that you get issued by Homeland Security, or let's just say the ARO, Admissibility Review Office, basically stating that your particular circumstances result in the fact that you do not require a U.S. waiver. Okay, let me say again. The letter basically dictates that your circumstances do not require that you need a U.S. waiver to enter the USA. Sounds a bit general, and I have to keep it that way because the discount waiver companies are always coming to our channel trying to reverse engineer our stuff so they can take it and use it themselves, keep their lights on. So I'm not giving them anything, and that also includes the lawyers. Okay, but like I just said, a September letter is a letter from DHS that basically states you do not need a waiver, you are not inadmissible. A U.S. entry waiver is a document you get from the U.S. government that states that your inadmissibility is quote unquote temporarily waived. So for a certain period of time, the time meaning how long the waiver is for. So if your waiver is good for 6 months, you waive for 6 months. If a waiver, let's say, is 1 year, it's 1 year. If it's 5 years, it's 5 years. You're temporarily waived, not permanently waived. The actual permanent waivers stopped around, I think it was April 1998 for Canadians. But the September letters, live on. Thing is, with the September letters, you have to know how to get one. So it's not just a matter of filling out a form and say, oh, I want a September letter. It doesn't work that way. You have to know the codes, the statutes, the circumstances. You have to know how to position, um, I'll say, the file to show that you're, even though they thought you were inadmissible, CBP was mistaken. You are not inadmissible, as per what the ARO dictates. Doesn't matter what that line officer said, as per the ARO. Now, here's something interesting. There's a person that called today, and I mentioned him in another video. He had a September letter, but it got revoked. And I know why it got revoked. Uh, his waiver was not prepared the right way. And the person that did it, I won't say the name yet, but that's coming one day. Bottom line is the person that did his waiver didn't know what he was doing. And the person's out here in the BC region, I'll say, but not in Canada. Let me say it again. The person's out here in British Columbia, this region, but he's not in Canada. He's not on Canadian soil. Doesn't live in Canada. Doesn't work in Canada. But he's out in this region. And I'll just leave it at that. That individual does not know how to do this stuff properly. And because of that, now this guy is in a major pickle. He's not the only one. To get these September letters, you have to know how to position the stuff properly. First of all, you have to know if you even qualify for it. If you don't qualify for a September letter, you won't get it. So if you get some of these places trying to like rip you guys off saying, oh, I guarantee you get you a September letter, that's straight bullshit because no one can guarantee, even us, no one can guarantee you're going to get a September letter. And even if this was the September letter, this pen, if this was the September letter, this is my favorite pen. This is a September letter, it's in your possession. There's no guarantee you get to keep this because this September letter, I'm trying to think. Let's say you got a September letter for getting there's a globe over there on the desk. You got a September letter for stealing a globe. I'll just say that. So that September letter covers the fact that you stole that globe or table. But I'll go as far as this. You stole this out of a store. So if you got a September letter for that, then that September letter will cover only the fact you stole that phone. Now, when you go down to the border and that officer looks through the system, if he finds something else that's unrelated to this, makes you inadmissible, the September letter is revoked. And you likely won't get it back again. That's happened quite a few times. Doesn't really happen to our people for the most part. Because me being a former federal officer, a former law enforcement officer that was previously posted in Washington State, I have the same internal manuals and regs they use at DHS. I've got their policies and procedures. I've got that stuff. So I know how they're going to approach this stuff. I know which angle they're going to come at, and I know ways I'll say I know ways to make sure you guys are protected. I'll say it like that. So for the September letters, though, we charge around, well, I mean, it's case by case, but it can be anywhere from 3,500 to 4K up until 8, depending upon the situation. And some people say, oh, why so much? I said, well, that means you don't need a waiver again for life. You don't have to worry about this again. And we explain the system, we show them the regulations, the manuals, and show them how DHS will come at them for this. And they're like, oh, I mean, there's no price tag for that. It's none at all. So that person is good to go. That's why we charge what we do. And that's why we still have a 99 to 100% success rate as of, what's today, September 5th, 2025. And we still maintain it. So someone knocked. But bottom line is September letter, U.S. waiver, totally different. If you need a U.S. waiver, it's going to be hard to get a September letter. If you have a September letter, you could lose that and then need a U.S. waiver. So think about that. So before you guys go shopping around these discount waiver companies, you guys get ripped off. It's only your fault because they don't know how to get this stuff. A lot of these lawyers don't even know how to get this stuff, but I do, and my associates, we know. Ken Scott, Senior U.S. Immigration Law Intelligence Analyst with www.usentry-waiver-services.com, and it's 888-908-3841 or 604-562-8140. All right, guys, give us a shout. And I mean, as it is, we got loads of people calling now. I barely get sleep. I've said that in other videos. I'm simply knackered, but nothing else I can do. Got to keep driving on. And I'm out. Have a great day.